Hello, David. Nice to see you again. Mind if I ask you a couple questions?
Yeah, sure. It's great to be here.
So, why Canada? What do you like about it so far?
Personally, I just believe that Canada is a beautiful place and the culture here is very diverse and welcoming. When I got here, things were exactly like what I pictured them, and I'm quite satisfied and enjoying every day of my life in Canada.
What is your goal? How is OIA helping you with that goal?
The courses in Germany were not really challenging for me, but I had a fairly high expectation of myself, so if I wanted to get myself into one of the best universities in Canada, I had to look for a guarantee. In Germany, programs are fairly flexible because we can choose between whatever subjects that we think are useful and want to learn more about at university level. But we usually only would need to focus on 4 different subjects. For example, in gymnasium, to apply for universities, so if I want to learn more about my interested subjects, there are no other ways to do it. And the challenging part about those courses is that we usually have exams every 2 weeks. But when I was learning OSSD at OIA, I had a wider range of different choices for different subjects. Like for example, for science, there were several different areas for this major category. Teachers at OIA were better at offering encouragement too. Besides, OIA provided a very easy approach for me to reach my goals, and the teachers here were really accessible and helpful. The programs are also designed in a very interesting way, and most importantly, from a lot of success stories, I was very confident that by taking OSSD program with OIA, I can have my goal fulfilled. And I'm very happy to have made this decision.
Why online learning?
I was weighing pros and cons between learning in person and online learning, but I just figured that there were more advantages of learning online because I was still 15 when I first picked up the course, so I was financially dependent on my mom, and I tried to not bring a huge burden on her because the living costs are really high, especially in the big cities. I also tried to make her not worry about my safety because like a teenage boy living far away from parents can do a lot of crazy and fool things. And I'm glad to have made this decision because it was easier and safer and more financially friendly to me and my family.
Why OIA?
Since there's no difference between online learning and on-site learning in terms of the qualification I would get from the course, I just narrowed down my scope in online programs. There are quite a few good options, such as the live class or program videos. OIA stood out to me because it is flexible in learning and I can totally make my own schedule and won't need to worry about the time difference between Germany and Canada. Also, I think the teachers at OIA are responsive and responsible, and I could always get help and useful feedback from my teachers and tutors. It was one of the best decisions I made in my life so far.
What have you enjoyed the most?
You mean what I like from the courses? Well, I think the most amazing part is that I do not need to go through endless assessments and worry about my performance in the exams. I grew up in a Chinese and German family, so my parents would always treat me like a traditional Chinese student. That is, I need to get high marks and good grades in my exams. So that gave me a lot of pressure. But when I was learning OSSD, I did not worry about the exams anymore because most of my marks were given by my teachers based on, for example, what I learned, the presentations, essays, and, for example, the application of my knowledge and my understanding of it. So that's what I like the most, probably.
What was the biggest takeaway?
For me personally, the biggest takeaway would be self-discipline and time management. They too are such important things to keep in mind. Also, to ask teachers what you don't really know would help a lot too. I know a lot of students, especially from Asian countries, are afraid of asking teachers questions, but actually teachers would love to hear questions and provide help to students, especially when the questions are thoughtful. It is a process of learning too.
Do you feel supported by the teachers online?
Yeah, I was very lucky to have these wonderful teachers at OIA because they always provided help to me. And it's not only about academic improvement, but sometimes when I fell a little bit behind my schedule, Tutors would always send me emails and even call me on WeChat to find out what was going on and how they could help me. That was really great. You know, being surrounded by teachers like this, it would be embarrassing if I did not work hard enough.
Were the lessons easy to understand?
Yeah, for me, because the lesson plans were made on the platform, I could find all the information very easily on the first day I needed them. And my teachers would always give me an orientation in the beginning of each unit. That included their expectations, remarks, and certain background information for me to do further research. I benefited a lot from the clear structure of the course, which made my learning very efficient. And the materials are well designed too, because I could see teachers put a lot of effort in them, like using some of their personal experience, interesting examples, and stories in Canada. So I was very confused on the course and able to find lots of useful stuff about Canada and how things work differently here from Germany.
Any suggestions for future students?
Perhaps I would rather share some of my personal experience in hindsight. I think the English language should be the first thing to prepare when students are taking OSSD, because I assume most students, including myself, will find the language barrier was not easy to deal with in a short time. So if you're comfortable enough about using English in your life and at school, there's nothing to worry about. You must do very well in this course. But if you're not sure, I would suggest you take some ESL course right away, because this can help you fit into the program much faster, and you will actually enjoy the learning more.
Well, thanks very much for your time, David. Those are very good answers.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I was happy to be here.